My name is Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. I live at 3102 Sector Hill Road, Utica, Mississippi, 38841. I am under attack by Scientology. From what I have observed, there is more space in the universe than humans can see. There are 11 dimensions. We have biology in these 11 dimensions. We have 11th dimensional biology. We utilize this biology to have an afterlife. When we die, we live on. Scientology is the practice of utilizing this extra dimensional biology before we die. They remove it from themselves and use technology and techniques to turn it into an upper dimensional being. Drive around in the upper dimensions while they are still among the living. They are very criminal and they are attacking me. For the rest of the story, you have to refer to the rest to my other videos. But I have to report criminal activity at the moment. I'm extremely sick. They have damaged my nerves and my prostate in the past couple of days. So you have blood vessels and nerves on your prostate. Your prostate rests on a hard piece of cartilage that is full of nerves and blood vessels. They ripped off my prostate, and then they did damage to the nerves and blood vessels that led to it. They can feel what I feel, and they'll stimulate my biology and feel my nervous system functioning. And then if it's functioning properly, they will damage it. They are infatuated with my sexual organs. I am very sick. Yes, they did this in all dimensions, my inverse. And then I think they damaged it in the third dimension using a worm. Because he's been doing this for 13 years. I got forced to assimilate into a hive mind because I'm extremely intelligent. I write a lot of intellectual content, a lot of literature. Also participate in politics a lot. They were hostile. They tried to take over my life, control me. Then over the years, they got to watch me write my literature, and they exploited me. They sold seeds to my phone service. They allowed other people to invade my mind space for a fee. They made a lot of money doing it. They are attracted to my psychology, my ability to write and create. Then they started stealing my intellectual property. They assaulted me in the upper dimensions. Then they gave me parasites because they can drive these parasites. Then they wanted the ability to create literature for themselves, the ability to create and write and be intelligent properly. So they started stealing my biology, specifically my brain tissue, to use as transplants, surrogate making purposes. They wanted to utilize it themselves. And then that turned into a snuff film. Torture. They are petty and jealous, psychotic. Their technology gives them a narcotic like effect. It elevates their neurochemistry. It's almost like a stimulant or an opiate. Plus, they are abusing substances. They have become addicted to torturing me. So they can feel what I feel, and they feel my nervous system and brain functioning properly, and they damage it. They are petty. They don't want me to have it. Yes, they're rubbing on my prostate right now. It's supposed to be very intense. I can't feel anything. They're running away now. So they put a hole through my prostate. So right where the nerve. You want to attach some digital device or something. I don't want. My prostate was functioning properly till a couple of days ago. They just put a worm on it. It held the wound shut. Said that's what you need, but you're not going to get it. We're going to take it off. It felt a little bit better. Not when they're around. They'll take it from you. I'm very sick. All my nerves are damaged. All the way up. All of my nervous system, my main nerves. They cut them out of me a long time ago, a few years ago. Yes, there's an entanglement property between your third dimension and your inner dimension. If any of your inner dimensions are removed, no matter how far they go from you in this biology, what happens is you can't take energy from out of the particle. And that's what that is. That is energy from within our particle. So as they remove it and as they take it away from you, space time in between you and the removed biology shrinks. So as they take it away from you, space time warps and shrinks. So it's as if it never leaves you, but it's gone. Well, from one perspective, it does leave you, and you can see the warp in space time. But from our perspective, space time is warped, it shrinks, so it's still attached to it. Please get away from me. You're breaking the law. Get off my property. You're not welcomed here. I'm very sick. Yes, I think they did irreparable damage to my nervous, my brain, my heart, my lungs, my organs, my sexual organs. You're breaking the law. One of them said, I feel good, and you don't. So ha ha ha. Yes, these people use technology to artificially stimulate their biology. So they run energy through their brain and central nervous system, including their endocrine system, their glands. It elevates hormones like testosterone and estrogen, and it also elevates neurochemistry like dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, even oxytocin. This has an extremely narcotic-like effect upon the user. It is exacerbating psychological issues. It's causing psychosis within these people, delusions, irritability, addictive behavior, pettiness, jealousy, greed, machoism. They're sociopathic. They have no empathy. Yes, and this guy that's doing this to me, he has elevated testosterone. He's very machoistic. Men, especially alpha males, if they experience high levels of testosterone, they get mean and evil, and they have a tendency to hurt the people around them, especially kids and women. And then other men, they think it's a competition to them. It's an evolutionary trait. It's something that happens in the wild. When you find a mate, animals or even humans, you're in the wild, when you find a mate and your hormones start to elevate, you have a tendency to hate their offspring, the ones that aren't yours. You hate other males in your area. Yes, and you have a tendency to be violent. As most mammals experience this. I'm being assaulted. Please get away from me. You're breaking the law. Yes, and they're elevating their neurochemistry. They have elevated dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, which causes these psychological issues that I just mentioned. Stop assaulting me. You're breaking the law. I'm being assaulted. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. You're not above the law. This is America. You need to leave. This is private property. Well, I'm in pain now. I just got assaulted again. The area around uh, my prostate is below it to the left. My groin. They can feel me functioning. They want to hurt me. She says she wants to take out this leg. They're infatuated with the idea that our sexual organs or intercourse, climax, it is attached to our leg nerve. So they want to hurt that area too, my leg nerve. Pettiness. These people are very petty, and they see body parts as commodities, objects in which they can utilize for themselves or to make money with. They are objects of value to these people. So some of these people are petty. They want to take it away from another person. If they don't like you or have something against you or a vendetta or anything, they will take your body parts. They want to see you suffer. They want to induce suffering. I'm in pain now. Please stop. You're breaking the law. Get away from me. I am very sick. Well, I'm in pain. Please stop. You're breaking the law. Get away from me. I'm in pain. A lot of innocent people have died. This has led to acts of terrorism. This has led to innocent lives being taken, torture, rape, and murder to countless people. And when people see justice against these people will kill an innocent person on national television, trying to make people feel better. And then they make surrogates. So they will make a surrogate and they will inhabit this biology. And then they have to experience, then they'll kill it or torture it. And they will have to experience this torture and murder. And then they call this justice. They're not only doing this to me, they're doing this to a lot of other people. I'm the only person that talks about it. Most people get kidnapped or trafficked into these people's presence, and they do it constantly. It is their source of entertainment. Is to take biology away from people and then murder them. They need body parts for their business. Their business is Scientology, which involves removing body parts from people, helping them access the upper dimensions, and that requires transplants. They mutilate their body in an attempt to do this. They require transplants from other humans and other species in an attempt to make themselves whole and function properly again. But once they take their organs, they have no use for these innocent people, so they kill them. One of them says, "I see this over and over and over again." No, the federal government is involved in this practice. Yes, 'cause I've been with these people for 13 years. I got forced to assimilate. I have something they want. So people in this society, if you have any kind of influence, power, or authority, if you have a job position in which they desire, they will force you to assimilate, which means they will force you to practice Scientology and force you into a hive mind so they can tell you what to do and control your behavior. Yes, especially in politics and big business and government agencies. And the technology that they use to assimilate, it comes with psychological issues. I'm in pain. They're destroying my prostate. One said, I don't want you to feel it. One says, I'll have to get it back. And says, no, you won't. It's gone. So they got me in a third dimension. This is third dimensional assault. being tortured. I'm being tortured at the moment. You're breaking the law. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. Get away from me. One of them is threatening me. He said, "You took so many of ours. It's time we take some of yours." Yes, this is a large group of people doing this, which includes government officials, politicians, the FBI, the CIA, the military. They all have Scientologists among them, and they owe their loyalty to the Scientology, to, the, to people that run Scientology, not to the government or to the public. They are abusing their authorities. They're not only allowing this to happen, they are helping it happen. No, the aliens are not eating us. Scientologists need other people's biology to create their aliens. Our, our extra dimensional biology presents itself in layers. As it grows out of us into the next three dimensions, it creates a biology. Then, as it transcends the boundary into the next three dimensions, it creates a layer on top of that biology. And then it does the same thing with the next three dimensions. It creates another layer, and then the next dimension it creates another layer. So you wind up with a biology that consists of layers, and these layers uh, pertain to the boundaries of dimensions. So every three dimensions, it creates a new layer. It looks like those little Russian dolls, a doll inside of a doll inside of a doll. These Scientologists like to remove the whole thing from themselves, or most of it, and then they cleave themselves along the layers. So every three dimensions, they'll cut themselves. They take the layers off, and they wind up with three or four biologies in outer space, which they can modify and turn into an upper dimensional vehicle. What happens is our organs and our brain and our tissues, they are 11 dimensional. They transcend all through all 11 dimensions. You need these organs whole to function properly. So they will take organs and tissues from other humans and other, insects and things like that are whole. They'll take the whole thing, all 11 dimensions. And then they will use this organ to modify their biologies. So their biologies get a whole functioning organ. They need this to function properly. And then on top of that, this only gets them so far, especially because of brain tissue. They lose the ability to produce biochemical electricity. So they have to use a form of artificial stimulation, which involves electricity. So we have a soul tube in the extra dimensions. It is an extra dimensional body part. It's a tube that runs the length of our spinal column. It attaches to our sexual organ. It is a sexual appendage. It runs all the way up into our brain, and it has a ball on the end of it. It's round, a dome, and it merges with the underside of our brain right in front of our medulla. It is an extra dimensional body part. So this tube is filled with blood vessels and nerves. It's part of our sexual experience. We experience this while we're among the living, our soul tube. So they will cut a hole in your groin in the upper dimensions, and then uh, put an electrode to the base of this tube, and it stimulates, it sends electricity straight into your brain. And because of this universe, the way it works, it transcends boundaries. Uh, they can leave one biology stationary. They can hang the soul tube on a shelf, or they can remove it, or however they do it, and you still get stimulation throughout your whole biology. This is the Scientology. It is mutilation. Scientology is a biohacking field. They hack their body parts so they can go to heaven before their time. Yes, and these organisms in which they create, people call aliens. There are a few alien forms. They make lizard people. They make bug people or insectoid, and they make worm people. So they like to use worm body parts. And because of this entanglement process, all you really need is a piece of brain tissue to drive another organism. They call these surrogates. So you can take an extra dimensional brain stem out and put it into a worm and drive this worm. You can experience everything the worm does. And they have some big worms in outer space. They have some big lizard people. They have some big insectoids. Yeah, I just received more prostate damage. So one of them was looking and seeing how they could help it grow back, and he was messing with it, seeing if he could help it grow back and function again. Someone else come down here and got on the third dimensional worm and started damaging the areas in which allow it to function, would allow it to grow back. So nerves and blood vessels. I just received more damage. This is the world of Scientology, and they are extremely criminal. So ever since about the 70s and 80s, they have been forcing assimilation upon the population. So employment positions of big business, of the government agencies, Scientology has been forcing assimilation upon our uh, elected officials and employees and CEOs, business owners to control their behavior. They have torture and rape victims all the time. This group of people that are doing this to me are not the only Scientologists around. There are a lot of Scientologists in the world, and a lot of them do the same thing. I'm very sick. My prostate is badly damaged. As it used to be very sensitive. They like to mess with it. I've got raped a lot. It's like every day. It was extremely sensitive. You can't touch it. It's very sensitive. Then a few days ago, they started to assault it, ripping blood vessels and nervous tissue out of it, and then they ripped my prostate off of it. Our prostate sits on a long cartilageous, or a long piece of cartilage, a long round piece of cartilage that is full of blood vessels and nerves. They damaged the whole thing, put a hole through it. That hurt. I received third dimensional damage. Yes, they have a worm on it. The worm god just took off running. That's one of his surrogates. He's got a big worm up there. He says it's actually a trailing worm, which is a parasite. Yes, they don't feel as if we do on Earth. They have technology that artificially stimulates their biology. Plus, they have transplants and they've been cut to pieces. They have brain damage, and most of them, or all these people, are abusing substances. They're either on stems or opioids. They like fentanyl. Yes, and plus they're artificially stimulating neural tissue and their hormones. Elevating their testosterone is very harmful. It's very dangerous. It makes them very violent and irritable, and so does the dopamine levels. That causes addictive behavior, which is what we're seeing here. They have become addicted to this behavior. I am very sick. Yeah, so whenever you remove your upper dimensions, take them away from us. Take them. There is a direction in the inverse. It is away from the third dimension towards the 11th dimension. It is away from us. So once you take these biologies to this place or something of this to this effect, uh, you start to expand at a greater rate than we do in the third dimension. They become big compared to us. And then when they come back to us in the third dimension, they are giant. They treat us like little Barbie dolls, and they have a God complex. Yes, our prostate is a very important part of our nervous system. It is one of the main powerhouses for energy, bioelectrical energy. It stimulates a large part of our biology. It has a lot to do with our biological function, especially in males. It keeps us stimulated naturally. Please get away from me. You're breaking the law. Some of the people that are affiliated: Barack Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Devin Singe. Uh, the military has a big presence here. The Air Force, the Navy, and the National Guard, and probably the Army too. Then the FBI. The FBI is running. The FBI and the CIA is running the field of Scientology. And so is the Department of Justice. Damaging my nervous system. They don't want me to have it. They're petty. One of them says, "No, let me finish. Get off my property." No, you can't say it's something else. I have witnessed your behavior. It is nothing else. I do not consent to you messing with my biology in any way. You're breaking the law. Get away from me. I do not consent. You are breaking the law. Get away from me. They forced me to assimilate because of my literature. I am part Native American. I wrote Crazy Bird Comics. I wrote the Environment Creation Agency. I wrote Divine Currency. I wrote Alien Bob, Bug Bob, and several others. I study a lot, do philosophy and think. I try to come up with ideas to save the planet. My Native American name is Crazy Bird. I'm a descendant of the Lakota people. Get away from me, you're breaking the law. They have killed countless innocent people, millions of innocent people. They have addictive behavior. They have become addicted to this behavior. Biological death. They want my biology for transplants. I've been in the hive for 13 years and they've been watching me. They became addicted to my psychology, my ability to create and write literature. They got to experience me doing this. It brings me great joy and it is of great value. And they got to see this and they're like, oh, that's so valuable. It's extremely valuable. So first they stole my intellectual content and now they want my body parts. So they took all of those. They took all of my biology for transplant purposes, for surrogate purposes. And then they're using some of it for torture devices. Like especially my nerves, they don't need those. They don't need my prostate. You're breaking the law. They come again. Get away from me. You're breaking the law. Yes, they're trying to create a false narrative in which says I've done something wrong or I'm somehow a bad person. It somehow justifies their criminal behavior towards me. And they keep trying to justify their attacks over and over again. So they will assault me very bad. And then they will go up there, they'll run away, and then you hear them trying to come up with a reason or an excuse for why they did it. They victim shame me in this instance. They say I've done something wrong. The only crimes I'm really guilty of is petty drug use. They exacerbated. However, for about 10 years of my life, as this has been going on, I've been under the care of a psychologist. I had to pay a lot of money to stay under the care of a psychologist and a psychiatrist. They have had me on psych meds and other medication that helped me with my issues the entire time I've been in the hive. Technology that they use causes psychological and or causes physical and mental illness. Yes, they remove body parts. They install foreign objects on digital devices and such, cause pain and discomfort. And then you have to hear voices are extremely hostile and mean. Yes, I've been writing my whole life. They found me on social media, writing literature, participating in politics. They force some people to assimilate. I'm in pain. They damaged my heart very badly about a week ago. I'm going to get something to eat.